What is up, besties? If you guys are seeing this, then that means I did not have the energy to make my intro today. I do apologize. Unfortunately, there will not be a general reading. However, based on the collective messages that we've been getting and based on what I've been personally going through, I just heard slow ride, take it easy, which is exactly what I was going to say. I think the collective is purging a lot right now. I think a lot of us are going through it. I've been reading in the comments, some of you guys, again, that throat chakra activation, my throat's starting to go. Also, this is healthy soda for anybody that's drawn to, you know, maybe quit Diet Coke and all that garbage. It's a difference, but yeah, anyway. I'm gonna be real with y'all because you know me. You're my besties. I love you guys, and so I'm gonna be real because that's the only way we know how to grow together, right? I mean, there is no bravery without vulnerability, and we have a society that does not promote vulnerability. In fact, you usually get in trouble for it, or at the bare minimum, gaslit, whatever. And so I'll get to why I haven't done the intro yet, but let's start off with the video. So honestly, like I said, your girl's been going through it and I could not sleep last night. I have not slept at all. I've not slept. It is 8:33. So you guys might be seeing the number 33, but it's 8:30 in the morning. And I just want to point out that I'm 33 years old. Bruh, this all-nighter shit, I don't know how my body used to do it. Drugs and drinking, but you know what I mean? But in today's video, I know that it's not any of the ones that we had on the poll, but I wanted to do something different. And I was in the depths of emotional despair last night. And the throat chakra, like we've all been going through, I've been finally, you know, speaking my truth to people that I should have been saying it to a long time ago. And maybe some of you are at that point, which is probably why I'm bringing that up now. Say what you need to say. I just heard John Mayer say what you need to say. I love that. And I told off quite a few people yesterday, and I had an epiphany that I didn't realize I was going to have. That one hurt. I realized that I still cared about somebody that I didn't think I cared about, so that was fun. And then I gave someone some wiggle room, and then they, you know, effed me over. So, you know, even when I sit here and I give y'all the general messages, just know you're human. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fall backwards sometimes. It is what it is. I didn't get sober the first time I quit drinking. You know what I mean? So sometimes you text your ex. Sometimes you... I don't know, spirit, give me something else toxic that someone else might do. Lean on just vices that don't serve you. You know what I mean? Sometimes, and I even said this with the Mercury retrograde too. Like, sometimes it's better to just fucking say it and get triggered so you can heal than to hold it all in. Because, like, sometimes you know what you're going to get from that person you're thinking about. You know what I mean? Like, you're not expecting best case scenario with that person. So if you don't expect best case, then... I mean, I did a lot of healing because I got hurt last night. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Don't feel sorry for me in the comments, besties. Just, you know, send me healing energy because your girl is exhausted. Because I want to be transparent on this channel and promote healthy living. I fucking cried for hours yesterday, and anger, like a lot of anger. I drove around and just rage music, and just... it helped. It fucking helped. But yeah, people suck, especially people from the past that either try to come back, so don't let them, block them out of everything. If they didn't appreciate you the first time, they're not going to do it this time around, bestie. Trust me. Your girl learned. But yeah, anyway, so we didn't do the... well, what was the one that won? I don't even remember what one won, because I was shocked MK... you know, I was shocked that one didn't win. What the fuck one? Oh, the Lucifer one. Yeah, y'all, I'm gonna be honest, like, I just wasn't feeling it today. Like, I was just like, I want to do something completely random that I don't think will take too much on my body, wouldn't take too much to... This is going to sound kind of conceited. That's so not what I mean. But, like, when you do healing work, it's... And, hey, channelers, you could say it in the comments down below, but when you do healing work, at least for me, it becomes easier to channel higher vibrational shit, whereas it's a lot harder to channel dark stuff, for instance. Like, y'all been on me on the Beyonce deep dive. It's not that I don't want to do it. It's that I know that energy is going to be tough. And I got to be on my A game if I'm going to do an hour worth of what the hell's going on with Bey and Jay. You know what I mean? Especially with the whole Jay-Z and Nicki thing going on right now. I did a reading on Jay-Z going down after Diddy soon. So it's like I'm psychic. I don't know what to tell you, you know? So anyway, sorry that I'm not giving you like the cards general message, but honestly, considering that we seem to all be aligned, just don't text people from the past. Rest if your body's telling you to rest. Cry if you need to cry. Keep hearing John Mayer say what you need to say. So I really do think the collective's going through a throat chakra activation. I'm being drawn to the solar plexus as well. But just, you know, if you... I'm not going to read it all because obviously my energy is garbage today. I'm not going to lie. Again, no sleep, just soda and a lot of water and a bath. That was really nice. But feel free to vent in the comments, bestie. You never know who could understand what you're going through, and maybe you can make a friend, you know? That's the whole point of this community. I want it all to be, you know, all of us. We're all in this together. But anyway, y'all saw the new you see this? You see this? Did I say this? Did I tell you guys? If you don't follow me on Facebook and Instagram, I don't know if you would have known. If you don't know, now you know. This shit took me 4 hours to put together, so act like I'm not daddy, okay? But anyway, so by now, you've seen the thumbnail. Basically, what we're going to get into is I just dove into what the hell happens when... And I know that this might be, so trigger warning, you know, if you've ever dealt with a situation where someone's been on life support or someone's been in a coma, I personally have, so I understand and I empathize with what you're going through. You know, I had a friend that wasn't going to make it, so I totally get it. And my intention with this reading was just to explain the spiritual aspect. And honestly, if you could sit through it without getting emotional, you could get to the end and be like, you know, actually, that brings me a lot of peace. And I think that was the point of this video. I also mentioned a lot of videos that seem to coincide with this. I'm linking them all in the description box. I'm pointing like the description box is in my desk. It's not. But it kind of piggybacks a little bit off of like what the dream video was, as well as like our doors portals. I'm going to link that one too. Kind of all the woo-woo. If you check out my woo-woo playlist, if you like this video, you'd like the woo-woo playlist. So check that out. But like I said, today what I dove into is what happens to us if we have a near-death experience where we either, you know, let's say your heart stops for a few minutes. Like, where do you go? What happens? Or let's say, you know, you're in an accident, because, you know, that's very prominent. We got a lot of people on the earth, a lot of vehicles, you know what I mean? Where do you go when you're in that coma? And so that's what I dove into today. And I know that this is going to be a controversial topic, because I know that, you know, some people might be like, this is sensitive. I hear you. Will Smith is playing in my head. Daddy, this is a very sensitive subject. My intention was not to be disrespectful at all. So please don't misconstrue what I did here. Honestly, it even brought me peace, because I'm going to be real with you. I'm not going to give you too much tea. You're going to have to sit through the video and watch it, bestie, because you're going to miss out otherwise. But at the end of the video, I was like, if I'm in a vegetative state, got the plug, or however that shit works, you know what I mean? So honestly, I think this is just a great video to end for Friday. We did pop culture all week. This reading is more like woo-woo, life after death. It's exciting, but it's also, you know, depending on what you've been through, it might be a little bit triggering. So, all alleged, and for entertainment purposes only, besties. As always, there are zero facts here. I'm talking to dead people in the ethers. How could she possibly know, right? So Subscribe if you're new here. I love you to my regulars. I love you to my besties. You guys are absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for the support. I recognize half of your handles by now, besties. I'm saying your name by name. Like, what's up, bestie? Like, thinking names. KTJ with the little, like, icon of a cartoon cat. There's Aphrodite. I loved her name. I think she's probably African American. I love her name. Who else is a big... I'm trying to like shout y'all out because I'm not doing the intro, so that's the least I can do. R. Turney. There's some numbers after that. I know you comment a lot. Who else? Oh, I just want to do some more shout out. Spirit. Who are the regulars? I can picture one of you, and you literally like you'll timestamp and you'll go over each and every one. And you've been following me probably since I was at 1,000 subscribers, but I can't think of who you are. But if you know that I'm talking about you, I feel like you have a white icon. But you'll do a timestamp and then you'll write a paragraph. And then you'll do a timestamp, write a paragraph. So shout out to you. And whoever else I'm forgetting that I see your name all the time. And I try to heart react and comment as much as possible. But just remember that I'm a human being, not a human doing. And this is the real life of a psychic medium. We do a lot of shadow work. We do a lot of healing. We get poked in a lot of triggers. Sometimes we step out of our intuition and do dumb shit and break our own damn hearts. So that's fun. So, you know, just a reminder, 11:11 on my clock, new beginnings, hey. Just a reminder you're human, you know what I mean? So maybe that's the message that y'all need to hear today. You're human, no one's perfect, nobody's nerfect, and like Nightbird said, if you're lost, we're all a little lost, and it's all right, you know what I mean? So, without further ado, besties, I don't think the clicky thing will, I mean, we could try it, you know what I mean? Is there anything that I can, like, tell them about the reading? I feel like there's no way that I could summarize it because it was more channeling than it was cards because it was so like woo-woo. So if you're into woo-woo, life after death, then this is going to be the video for you, bestie. Also, sorry if I'm drained as shit and you can tell. I'll be fine. I took a bath. I'm going to go outside later. It's going to be okay. Just, you know, send me some energy. Send me some healing. I did a stupid thing last night. I be talking to people that are just, you're no good, baby, you're no good. Me. I'm a bullshit. I never listen. I never learn. I don't take my own advice. I learn the hard way. But a lot of times we tend to learn through others, especially as like empaths that have to seclude ourselves because, you know, we're doing all this intense healing. We can't have other people imprinting on us constantly, which is why we need this solitude. So if any of you are like, why do I lose all my friends? Why am I always alone? It's because you're reforming who you truly are, not all of the projections everybody's put on you. So I don't know who needed to hear that. Also, do you like my drug rug? Super cute, right? It's purple and pink. I love this for me. I didn't straighten my hair. I like Sophie Hunter. Y'all should check her out. She's not super famous and she should be. Oh my God, what's the beginning of her lyrics? I do not look good. I am not been on my grind. I wish a bitch would not, please. I don't talk to my parents and my landlord is a Nazi. I'm loaded like the dice still. I'm about to Yahtzee. I need one valid reason not to end it all. Chemicals. That's a good point. So piggyback, where are my edibles? I think y'all would like that song because I'm being drawn to that. Maybe some of you are struggling because the song's basically like, no one's helping me. She literally says I'm an anxious attachment. So if like that's your thing. But anyway, I'm just making up for the fact that I'm not doing the intro and the general reading. So I'm letting channel messages flow. It's just all going to go in one. Rest. And I'm also hearing express yourself. It's been the same message through the theme of the collective. I think Mercury retrograde ended, the shadow period ended recently. If you're watching this when I put it out, so you might still be feeling the effects of it. Lord knows I am. But if you're seeing this in the future, maybe you're just going through it. We're all going through it. Here's a little look. We're hugging together. This is just so stupidly awkward, but that's fine. Silly. It's silly. Remember? Here, big hug from me to you. Love you. So, all alleged and for entertainment purposes only, besties. I'm going to go outside and get some grass. That sounds wrong. Whatever. All legend, no facts here. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, I'm actually almost caught up. I'm like 4 clients away from being caught up. So if you were worried, don't be, bestie. I got 1 July reading left, and then we're on to August, and then everything's going to be back on track. So it's looking like next week everything will be solid. So if you want to book a private reading, karmicdf.com. But without further ado, besties, like I said, we're looking at near-death experiences and basically what happens when we're in a coma. You know, are we just like, or some shit really going on? You know what I mean? It's all legend and for entertainment purposes only, besties. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We have a great time over here. I got the best posse. Like, act like I don't. If you're out in the club, don't think I'm not. Why is that coming out, Spirit? Are y'all grieving somebody? That might be a message for, I don't know who that's a message for. Take it for who it resonates. But I'm hearing, if you're out in the club, don't think I'm not. If you're even making love, don't think I'm not. And then I'm being drawn to Lemonade by Beyonce. Are y'all sick and tired of being sick and tired? I'm telling you, it's a collective theme. It really is. We are all connected, if anybody else needed to hear that. So feel your feelings. This is the weekend, you know, if you're seeing it during when I post it. So take care of yourself. Go outside. Go get some nature. Go do the natural shits. It helps, you know. That's kind of why it existed before all this technological bullshit. So go enjoy yourself. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I've rambled a lot. You could have switched by now. But without further ado, besties, thekarmicdf.com for readings, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Come join me, besties. Let's chat. Let's have some fun. You'll be the first to know when videos come out. That's great, right? We won't get lost in the YouTube algorithm. But without further ado, I love you guys so much. Sorry that I'm tired, but I really think you're going to enjoy this video. All alleged and for entertainment purposes only. Let's get into it. What is up, besties? It is your girl Karmic, back to you again with another video. By now you know what it is. And if you are a regular here and you saw the community poll, I'm gonna be honest, bestie, I was called to do something different today. So I hope that you guys like this topic. I'd be shocked if you didn't, because it's kind of in the same woo-woo as we usually do, kind of. And so, yeah, I wanted to see, by now you'll see what we're doing. So I don't think I have to get into it too much. I want to know what really happens when you go through a near-death experience. I also want to know what happens, and I know this is probably a sensitive subject for some people, but I want to know what happens with comas, right? Like some people go into comas, they experience something come out, some don't necessarily come out. As I'm immediately already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you to everybody that says through 30 seconds of ads. I appreciate y'all. And comment down below what you guys want to see in future videos. I'm seeing specifically when you're in a coma. What I'm seeing is an energetic cord, and I see this a lot, especially astral travel, when you're dreaming, stuff like that. My throat's starting to go. Okay. It's like when you're in a coma, you're not in your body, because I see, like, I'm being drawn to this movie with Reese Witherspoon where she's like a ghost, but she's actually in a coma. And it's like, when you're in the coma, you're still attached to what they call, at least that's what they're telling me, an ethereal umbilical cord. That's what I'm hearing. And it's like you're still technically attached to the body, but for some reason, whether temporarily or permanently, I see for sometimes, especially with the comas, if something tragic has happened, like a car accident, for instance, your soul will sit by the body, or it'll astral travel, or it'll just, it stays connected while the body itself heals. Because it's reminding me of like the whole alien med bed type thing. It's like the body can heal itself. That shit would be painful. We go into a coma so that our soul can kind of just like hang around. Think of like when you're dreaming, you know what I mean? It's kind of giving me that same type of vibe. But I think we'll get into how the near-death thing plays out when we pull in the cards more. Also, a card came out like flying when I was shuffling off camera. So, all right. Let me shuffle 2 more times. All right, Spirit Team, Near-death experiences and comas. What can we know about them from a spiritual perspective? All alleged and for entertainment purposes only. There are zero facts here. I may have been a science major, but I am not a scientist. Also, it is 4:30 in the morning because, to be honest, besties, your girl had a rough night. Some shadow work and just some realizations about the people I surround myself with. It's been a fun Mercury retrograde, even though it's over. Let's see, 4:25 in the morning. God help me. Anyway, so let's just dive right into this. NDE, spirit team, comas. What's really going on when that happens? Well, yeah, that makes sense. Ten of Swords. Oh, this is a new deck, by the way. Did I even mention that? I don't have the... I don't want to go reach it. I'm going to put it in my... I can't talk. The description box. I'm going to put it in... I'm going to call it Sacred Tarot. That'll be this deck. Eight of Pentacles. Ten of Swords, Eight of Pentacles. Restructuring. Okay, so one message is, you know how a lot of people will come back with near-death experience stories where they're like, I saw God, I went to heaven, I was told this story, blah, blah, blah. There are times where you meet your spirit team because it's like, with that Tower card in the reverse, it's not over. We still have more work to do with the Eight of Pentacles. So I think there are some souls, whether soul contract or not, I know this is going to be up for debate with, please, can we remove our feelings so that I can do this reading and give it justice? Like, I understand that emotions are involved with sensitive, yeah, because I'm hearing Will Smith, Daddy, this is a sensitive subject. I understand. Just understand that my intentions are pure. With the Tower there, it's like I need to restructure because whatever's happening is not working for me. So I almost feel like this is reminding me of like, yeah, and now my throat's starting to go, hold up. This is reminding me of a friend I had that was living a really like reckless life. And he ended up getting into a car accident. He was in a long coma. We were not sure that he was going to make it. Came back out, huge religious, like big time. And, you know, he said that he met God. And, you know, what I'm seeing is this is going to be so out there. So woo-woo. Happy Friday. I'm being drawn. Has anyone seen Grey's Anatomy? I feel like that's popular, right? Trigger warning, not trigger warning. If you haven't seen the later seasons, maybe skip ahead. But there's a moment where Meredith is, we're not sure if she's going to die or not. And she's on a beach. And what I'm seeing is there's like this in-between phase because it's almost like our soul, there's some sort of like we transition, but we have to be like, I'm hearing fragile. We have to be, Spirit, how do I word this in a way that makes sense? Because they're showing it to me, but I don't know how to word. It's almost like you have to re-heal your heart before you can understand the bigger picture. Because think about it, right? 3D is all about ego and stuff like that. So what they'll do is they'll create the reality that makes comfortable for you. I think I said that backwards. So like, for instance, say you have that NDE, right? Near-death experience. If you believe in heaven, then chances are you will manifest heaven. Because I watch a lot of YouTubes where they have near-death experience stories. And I've seen a lot of people that are like, I went to the gates of heaven. But then I'll also see that people went into a beautiful, luscious garden. So it seems like it's catered to your specifics because the intention is to make the soul feel as comfortable as possible without causing more trauma to the soul, because our 3D mind just can't comprehend it, right? Like dream state, we've covered that. I'll try to remember to link the video, but if not, I've done a reading on it. We're always awake. Our soul is always awake is kind of the point here. And I think a lot of times, either per soul contract, because it's reminding me with this writing here, or because you're headed down a path that you shouldn't be going with this Ten of Swords in the Tower, it's almost like a wake-up call. But then it's like they kind of show you the magic of life. Because notice this Tower card. I have no fingernails. Okay, hold on. Notice how this Tower card looks very like mythical, magical. It's kind of giving me this vibe of like in the 3D world, we kind of lose sight of the glass is half full best case scenario. We have a very negative mindset as a collective consciousness, right? So I do feel that there are some people that have soul contracts to have NDEs so that they can go on and explain their stories. Kind of like Spirit's drawing me to how I went through my spiritual awakening around the pandemonium. We'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. It's kind of designed for certain people to kind of get out of their own way. But then on top of that, like what's going on in the NDE, one, you're supposed to learn about who you really are. So depending on who your soul tribe is, depending on what's happened with that 10 of swords. So maybe we're in a cycle that we're stuck in is kind of the vibe here, especially with the tower being blocked. It's like we need to restructure because this shit ain't working. Because even though the 8 of Pentacles is here, with the tower reversed, it's like we're working on something that with these two surrounding cards, it's a detriment to us. Like I'm being drawn to, if you've watched any of my Q&A videos, I've had a lot of friends die of like overdoses and stuff like that. And it's really reminding me of that. It's like Spirit is trying to, for the ones that it's not a soul contract, like let's say coma, right? Get into a car accident, your brain swells, stuff like that. And then you end up having some form of connection to the ethers where it kind of like, I keep being drawn to like med beds, but it would be more obviously spiritual, not physical or tangible, where it's almost like they kind of heal your soul a little bit while your body is healing at the same time. I hope this is making sense. Okay, yeah. So this deck in particular has 2 special cards in it. So I'll make this make sense in a little bit. Hold up. 9 of Cups, Page of Pentacles, and then the Celestial Weaver in reverse. Yeah, okay. So the Celestial Weaver is kind of about like creating our own reality, and it's in the reverse, and then the Tower card's in the reverse. So we're holding on to something that is impeding our growth. And so this is not like a fear tactic, like, oh my God, now you're going to have a near-death experience. It's not that. It's more like I'm being drawn to the YouTube channel that does NDE stories where it's like, I was headed down a bad path. I was drinking and drugging it. It's almost like when all else fails, we have to kind of give you that scare tactic. Because think about it, right? Like a lot of us don't really change until something catastrophic happens, right? The death of a loved one, an ultimatum, stuff like that, especially with that 10 of swords being the first one to come out. But it's like somehow in the ethers, they remind you of why you came here with that 9 of Cups. It's like, don't you remember what you planned on fulfilling? I feel like you even go through your soul contract depending on, I feel like some people get to remember, most people don't, because I feel like most of them are 3D. They're going to remember some things. They're going to believe that it's more like a dream, but then there's the people that know because it's almost like something was activated within them to remember, like, because this reminded me like Akashic Records with the library here. If you don't know what Akashic Records is, just Google it. I don't want to drown you in semantics here, but with that 9 of Cups, it's like you came here for a mission and you're getting kind of like hoodwinked by the 3D escapism, fast-paced life. And so there is a message here about like when you're in that coma state, it's like you either link up with your guides or they'll manifest a version of like Jesus, if that's what you believe in. It could actually be, you know, the soul of Jesus. I did a reading on Jesus. Check it out. But it's like it's to get you back on track is kind of the vibe. And it's also to remind you of the magic. I feel like you manifest what you see, though. Like, that's a big one. Because I'm being drawn to how, like, this is kind of ethereal and it reminds me of, like, a beautiful castle. Whereas this looks like luxurious nature. And this looks like a beautiful library. I feel like it's tailored to the individual. So I think this is why when some people, you know, like say they have a heart attack and they die for a couple of minutes and come back and then they're like, I went to heaven. Sort of. I don't know necessarily that, I don't feel that heaven, I don't want to say that it doesn't exist. I feel like heaven's more of a frequency. It's more of a consciousness. But what they are referring to is the religious structure that heaven has designed for us. And so, again, to make the soul feel safe, they will, it just like creation. We don't really fully understand it, right? When you're in that, it kind of almost feels like it might be in the 4D realm. Yeah, because that's where you sleep, and I'm being drawn to my sleep spray. So it's like you're in the 4D realm and you're like reviewing shit. And again, it's like you're healing your heart at the same time, depending on what you've went through. So like, you know, car accident, maybe drug overdose, stuff like that. It's just a reminder that you had a plan with that Page of Pentacles. I think you kind of go over things. I feel like you're not going to remember everything that happened because again, if check out my dream reading. I don't know if I'm gonna remember to link it. I hope so, but we'll see. It's reminding me a lot of like, how do I word the spirit? This feels so celestial that it's kind of I'm having a hard time like grounding into it. You signed up to do something in this lifetime. You forgot about it. You forgot that you were the creator of your own destiny. You were headed down the wrong path, whether intentional or not, because of soul contracts. You thought that that was working. It wasn't. And so we needed a restructuring moment. We need to go into the 4D because usually during those NDEs, right, something physically happens to the body, car crash, etc. You know what I mean? So it's like while the body's healing, you're on the 4D going over your Akashic records, going over what your soul contract was. But again, it depends on the person, right? Because I'm being drawn right back to Grey's Anatomy where Meredith is on the beach and she's, you know, seeing passed on loved ones. So I do think that you get to see your passed on loved ones when you're in a coma or an NDE, depending. Again, I think it's tailored to each individual, but it's just like a reminder of why you come here. I think this is also why most people that go through an NDE, because I've heard a lot of stories where they're like, you have a choice sometimes to not come back, and it's like more often than not they choose to. I feel like sometimes their memory does get wiped as to the whole conversation because it's drawing me again to the dream reading where it's like I don't fully believe that dream time is like human time. Like I don't think that we're in the ethers for 8 hours. It's time's different there. We know that. So what your coma, for instance, could be like a week, but you might actually be in the ethers for a couple of months, remembering everything that you signed up for, talking to your spirit team, setting up a new plan. Because I'm being drawn to a lot of people that get out of NDEs and then they end up being spiritual, like holistic people and stuff like that. So there's a very big getting back in touch with why you came here to begin with. It's almost like the NDE and the coma forces you to remember that you're in a matrix and you may lose some of the memory coming back, but your soul is kind of like, I'm seeing like it being cleaned, you know, like, I don't know why, but they're showing me like the headlights of a car when they get really gross. It's reminding me of that. It's like your soul forgot where you were going. Your ego got in the way. And so we have to kind of like adjust it so that you don't limit your potential with this 9 of Cups because you set out. Yeah, because I'm hearing the song Eminem, I'm a be what I set out to be, undoubted doubt, undoubtedly, but we get in our own way. And so this is like kind of one of their last ditch attempts, kind of ish. Again, it's depending because I see some people where it's in their soul contract to have an NDE because that's their wake up to either, you know, speak about God or speak about spirituality, speak about religion, whatever they're particularly called to. But then sometimes it's with that 10 of swords, you're headed down a wrong path. This is going to be your wake-up call because otherwise you're not going to complete your mission and you're just going to come back here and have to do it all over again. So whatever it is that you're avoiding, so let's say, you know, you're leaning on drugs and drinking and you're escaping your life and that leads to something reckless, right? Like let's say, I don't know, you get behind the wheel, crash, coma, right? You kind of have to face what it is that you're running away from. And it's like, again, you know how there's a death in the family, you wake up. Something tragic happens, you wake up. It's kind of the same vibe, except you get kind of like a sneak peek into like why we came here to begin with. They're drawing me to all the stars on my own hand. It's like reminding you of where you came from. This is very interesting. I hope you guys like this. Let me know in the comments. Two of Swords. And look at how she's sitting on the bench, which again reminds me of the scene from Meredith Grey on Grey's Anatomy. It's like you have a choice, the Two of Swords, but it's in reverse. So it's like, we want you to choose to go back. I think some people... So one thing I'll say, and I know, again, this is a very touchy subject. I understand. But for anybody who's dealt with things where it's like you've had to unfortunately pull the plug because brain dead or anything like that, what I see is when that coma starts, they're like sitting beside the bed. They're not even stuck to just that room, but like they're listening to you talk to them. So if anything, like if this brings any healing to anybody, if God forbid you've dealt with that, or God forbid you deal with it in the future, they're right there. They can hear you. Like it's the same thing as communicating with like passed on ones. They're right there. But there's something here about like sometimes the damage has already been too done, you know, like again, brain dead, right? So I feel like this is just kind of a message from spirit that, you know, for those that may have ever had to, you know, make that horrible decision to like have to pull the plug or anything like that, you probably made the right choice, because it wouldn't have worked out. You know, like maybe they would have been deformed. Deformed's not the right word. Brain dead. I don't know. Like I'm seeing someone who can't talk and they're drooling and they can't move. So it's like, I don't know who needs to hear this. Maybe you guys, maybe someone in the future. But if anyone needed to make that decision or will ever have to, you're doing that soul a favor, because that body's not of use anymore. As sad as that is. But with that Two of Swords, it's like you're at a crossroads in your life. And so you have to choose. And this is also reminding me of like a reflection. So it's like you have to really look at yourself. What are you really doing? And how are you letting yourself down? I really feel like it's a come to Jesus moment when you have an NDE or a coma, but sometimes you don't remember it. I think that's why people come out with like, just like, I wouldn't gaslight anybody that comes out of a coma or any of that and says like, I saw God, I saw this, I saw that. I feel like they did, but it also feels like it's a creation. It's always creating. Our thoughts create our reality, right? But without the 3D, it's a lot easier to do that. So if you believe in heaven, you're going to create it. Apparently on Grey's Anatomy, Meredith Grey found her happiness on the beach, and so that's where she ended up. You know what I mean? It's kind of giving me that vibe. Yeah, it's like you have to make a decision. Do you want to keep doing this? Do you want to keep going that route? Or are we done? And I think most souls, because this is reminding me of the soul, most souls decide that they want to come back because they know, because the ego's gone on the other side. So it's like, I'm not done. I know that I'm not done. And I know that if I were to bow out, I would have to come back and do it all over again. So it's kind of just, again, I would really just explain this as like a come to Jesus moment, to be honest. And literally to potentially Jesus, if that's what you believe in. Five of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like you feel defeated. Something physically happened to you on top of that. And so it's like your spirit team, it's like a, they're reminding me of like football, where you get into that like team huddle. I was a cheerleader. This is so embarrassing. I'm channeling. Bear with me here. But it's like you get into the team huddle and it's like you're reminded of the target, and then it's like break, and then you come back. So when people have crazy dreams and they're comas, or like, you know how you hear some random stories where it's like, I was in a coma, but I heard that you were praying over me. It's because they're still there. Like they're attached to the body. There's like an ethereal cord. I can see it. It's like just like the umbilical cord, except maybe it's longer, because I can see people like astral traveling. They can leave. Yeah, this is also about like reminding yourself that we are all one with this Two of Cups here, because notice how they kind of look at look like each other. So it's a reminder of we are all one. It's also refilling our own emotional capacity, reminding ourselves that because when I do client reading specifically, the Two of Cups always reminds me of what you seek is seeking you. So I think your spirit team also reminds you that you're not stuck, basically, because I'm being drawn to like overdoses, right? I feel like this video is going to get flagged, and I don't mean to, but here we are. But it's like they remind you of like why you came here and what you were going to do. And I think especially like for ODs that make it, a lot of them, they tend to, you know, have the wake up call, and then they find spirituality, religion, stuff like that. And it's got something to do with the fact that on the other side, whether or not they remember, I feel like a lot of times they don't, but their spirit team remind them of the mission that they had to begin with. And so it's like you kind of get to break out of the matrix for a minute to remember why you came here to begin with. That's what it is. It's like our minds get erased from the moment of us coming in through conception. But if something unfortunate like this were to happen, it's almost like a team huddle where everything suddenly becomes real again for you, so that you can get back on track to where you want to be with that Nine of Cups. Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. Yeah, especially a lot of people with like stability, but this is also reminding me of like physical ailments and stuff like that. So it's like sometimes the body is under too much, and so the soul has to bow out for a little bit so that the body can heal itself. It's reminding me of like, I don't know if this is a real thing. I've watched a lot of like medical shows, but like there's something about like cooling the body down to slow something. I know I'm butchering the hell out of that. Someone's gonna know what I'm talking about, but it's like somehow removing the soul from the body for a little bit, because it removes the ego. It also removes the anxiety. It removes the stress. And remember, stress, it elevates your cortisol levels, which again impacts the body. So it's like the coma itself is helping you heal, because the added factors of your mental and your physical being overwhelmed, kind of like, you know how they do medically induced comas? It's kind of like that. It's like your soul already intuitively knows how that works. It's just that science does its own way of it. Does that make sense? I feel like that makes more sense. Like medically induced comas, it's like spirit guides induced comas kind of thing. I don't think they induce, you know what I'm saying. Nine of Pentacles. I think you also, especially with the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse, it's like you might have to reevaluate the people that you're surrounding yourself with, because, you know, I'm being drawn to like, I love the show Intervention as someone who, you know, actually got through the addiction. It's reminding me of like the people we're surrounding ourselves with and how we're limiting our potential. And then again, with that Queen of Pentacles, maybe we're limiting our abundance as well, our tangible money, because of societal's expectations, how, you know, you have to work super, super hard for the bare minimum, which is completely against the law of attraction and manifestation. You do not. You have to work smart, not hard. But it's like, it's the only way I know how to describe this energy is you get to get a sneak peek at what we all get to find out at the end of our life. So I would trust damn near everybody that goes through an NDE and goes, I have a story to tell, because yeah, they do. The one thing that I would say, and I feel like this might be the same thing with when you first pass over too. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to just title that in the video too, but I feel like when you first pass over, it's like, what do you believe in? We create it for you. So if you believe in the gates of heaven, that's what you're going to see. If you don't necessarily have a belief, then it's going to be something you feel comfortable with. Your family will reach you. And again, same thing with the coma and the NDE. Your family, whatever makes you feel safe, because that's the whole goal here. It's to make you feel safe. It's to make you wake up. It's to make you realize your worth. It's to make you realize what you came down here for. Obviously, that's not the only reason NDEs and coma happens. I'm just saying from the spiritual perspective, what is going on. The Emperor. Yeah, I think because, again, right now, especially in society, we have this masculine go, 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 do, do, do. unless you're dominating, unless you're top dog, you're not important. And so it's like, it's a reminder to, I don't like the word humble because it's, if you Google it, it's not the best definition, but it's kind of like remembering why you came here, for lack of a better word, but also remembering that you're not a victim with this Emperor card coming out. Now, obviously, I hear y'all just irking me in the comment. Chill. I'm not saying shit doesn't happen. I'm simply saying that control most often is an illusion, right? Because there's physical control, which there's only so much we can do, but then we can bond together, whatever. That's a whole other video. But then there's usually mental control, right? We mentally get addicted to drugs. Hi, it's me. Dealt with alcohol, right? But it's mental. And so it's like, this feels like a last ditch attempt to get you to remember who you are. Like I'm seeing the scene from Lion King, remember who you are. Anything else, Spirit? Yeah, Wheel of Fortune, it's like we've run out of ideas, so this is the last opportunity we got to get you to remember why it is you chose to come in here. This is reminding me of like the door to creation or something. But we forget because we get stuck in the hustle and bustle, especially with that Emperor card, with the leaders and all the masculine energy that's kind of dominating the world right now. We don't allow ourselves to feel and stuff like that. So it's almost like during NDEs and comas, you just get back in touch with your soul and your mission and your purpose and who you are. Three of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like you go through the gate out of the 3D. You're still kind of connected to your body through an ethereal cord, but then you collaborate with your spirit guides or whatever it is that you believe in, whatever it is you're working in, deities, whatever, God, pick your thing. But it's like we come together to remind you of why we came here. Yeah, because I'm hearing the song, Baby, This Is What You Came For. Lightning strikes every time she moves. That's the vibe. Yeah, High Priestess. It's like we got to remind you because you've been ignoring your own intuition. You've ignored your power. This is also reminding me of like Akashic records and past lives. So I do think they might like give you little hints like seeds, for instance, because again, I'm being drawn to how like people that come out of NDEs suddenly want to like talk about spirituality for a living. So it's like they kind of wake you up to your ancestry, your roots, whether that's you literally remembering when you wake up or them planting seeds so that you get these bouts of inspiration when you basically like come back into your physical body. Four of Cups. Yeah, because you've been detached from your intuition this whole time. So we have to collaborate with you because this is the only opportunity we have. We don't want to take you out of your body, but you're not listening, or something got in the way, free will got in the way, someone else, like let's say a car accident, you weren't the one that was driving. It's like this is the only way we can get to you. Yeah, 4 of Wands. So we create an environment that makes you feel comfortable, that makes you feel safe, while we kind of just have a team meeting about how we move forward from here. And again, if the body, with that Queen of Pentacles in reverse, if the body has suffered too much damage, then it's more like you're meeting up with your family. So like passed on loved ones, stuff like that. And they're kind of like easing you into the transition. I see like, and I know this is sensitive, I get it, but like say you have someone that's on life support or something, you're watching their body, you're sad, you have every right to be, but what I'm seeing is they're standing right next to you, like with their arm over your shoulder, they're watching you cry, and they're like, yeah, I see them being like, I don't know who needs, maybe someone needs to hear this, but it's like, you're not wrong for unplugging me if the doctor said that there's no chance of me coming back, because you're attaching me to something that does not work. My soul is eternal. Let me go. You'd be saving me. I'll come back in a different form and I'll always be by you. So I don't know if anybody need to hear that, but there's something here about like life is eternal. And in these NDEs, you get reminded of why you came here to begin with, and they create, it's almost like they create an illusion, but it's like tangible, but it's not, because like I've said, I've done this before where it's like we don't fully understand dimensions and timelines and all that, but it's like, notice how this kind of looks like it's floating a little bit. I mean, that might be bricks. You can't even tell, but it kind of looks like it's floating. So it's like they'll create the reality that makes you comfortable so that they can have a conversation with you. It's reminding me of the movie The Shack on Netflix, where God shows up as an African American woman. And the guy's like, you're a black woman? And God's like, I'm whatever you want me to be. Like, that's kind of the vibe here. It's like whatever makes you feel safe so that we can get the best case scenario possible. It's actually really beautiful. What's the back deck? Yeah, the devil. It's like, what have we been... It's reminding me of, like, Amy Winehouse, the 27 Club. I know we did conspiracies on that, and some of them are a little wonky, but it's just reminding me of, like, what we've been indulging in sometimes, because, you know, the devil card can be addictions and stuff like that, and it's, like, reminding you why this is not the way to go. Because in this devil card, it's like we're following the darkness, but we're supposed to be following the light. So it's a reminder, basically, to get back on track. You know what I mean? You know, I don't know why, but they're showing me, like, NASCAR. I think, no, it isn't NASCAR. The one where they go in circles in the track. Is that NASCAR? Because there's one in the state that I live in, and I know that's not NASCAR. But it's reminding me of how, like, you can hit the wall and break through. I don't know what that's got to do with anything, to be honest with you, but they just showed me that. I don't know. They don't make no sense. And then Page of Swords is like planting ideas for you. Again, going through your Akashic records so that when you come out of this, you come out inspired. You come out more connected to your inner child. You come out with a game plan. You come out knowing yourself better. What else? And then, what is that? Sorry, this card's new. 5 of Wands. Yeah, it's like you realize that the conflict really isn't conflict at all, that it's all kind of like a mirage. Like, for instance, when you heal, when people got shit to say about you, it really doesn't hit the same way as it did when, you know, your feelings were a little bit more sensitive because people have been bullying you. You know what I mean? Like, it's reminding you of who you really are. Like, I would describe this whole energy as like the Lion King scene, remember who you are. Yeah, getting caught up in the money and the foundations and the stability. But on this 10 of Pentacles, there's a bunch of people on it. So it's like there's no stability without community. There's no stability without family and people. So it's like in the NDE, you're on pause so that you can remember why you came here to begin with. But that Ace of Wands, you get new bouts of inspiration. I just keep being drawn to people that get inspired when they get out of this. It's kind of like designed, whether intentional or not, to remind you who you are. Notice how that kind of looks like a witch a little bit. So you might be reminded that you did witchcraft in a past life and now you're drawn to do spirituality and religion, whatever. It's designed to help you get back in touch with your soul while also letting your body heal, because your brain, if it were to be on, would make the healing process take longer because we stress too much. And again, I'm being drawn to the cortisol levels. It's like our stress, our mind, we're kind of our own detriment. We're our own undoing. And so when it comes to comas and NDEs, it's to heal the body without us being in it, because somehow that helps it heal faster. But then on top of that, it's like, well, while we're in a pause, let me remind you why you came here so that you can get back on track, so that you can go on to do what it is that you said you were going to do. So you get to meet your spirit team. You get to meet, you might be able to meet Jesus, depending on, you know, if you believe and that's the only thing you believe in. You might meet Jesus. I can't necessarily say. I mean, a lot of us talk to Archangel Michael, so why not? You know what I mean? But it's like you get to see how the universe really works is the point of all of this, so that when you come back, you're inspired instead of defeated. You ever notice how, like, people with comas and stuff like that, it seems like they have a new lease on life even though they just really went through it? It's also due, whether they know it or not, because they actually just had a team huddle and now they actually know where they're going to go in life. Does that mean that their ego won't get in the way again? Not necessarily, but it's just kind of like a a regrouping. It's a team huddle. It's reminding me of like halftime on football. Like that's the vibe. But you get to be with your spirit team. You get to be with your passed on loved ones. You get to have conversations. I feel like time there is different than our time here. So what, like 8 hours of sleep? Not the same over there. You might be there for a few months going over your Akashic records, figuring out where you're kind of going wrong. It's reminding me of the movie I always tell y'all to watch, Free Guy on Disney Plus, where how do I word this? He's shown that he's in a video game. If you don't know this movie, it's not going to make full sense. He is told that he's part of a video game and he's not real. And they show him the room where everything's kind of in control. And it's like, this is how it actually works. So basically, that's what happens. It's your spirit team or whatever you believe in going, hey, by the way, this is how it really works. This is how far you've come. So I think there is also like a partial soul review that happens as well, where it's like, okay, we could do a little bit better here. Maybe we need to lay off the drugs, the partying, you know, like whatever it is that got us to this place. But it's like, it's almost like a mini soul review. It's a reminder of who you are. It's a reminder of where you came from. It's a reminder of the balance between money and community and love. And it's designed to help you come back home to yourself more refreshed, more connected, and more motivated to be who you're supposed to be. I don't know how you guys felt about that. Please let me know down in the comments. I thought this was pretty cool. But I'm going to leave it here, besties. thekarmicdf.com if you'd like to book a private reading. This deck, like I said, it's going to be in the description box. I think I'm going to call it the Sacred Deck. But yeah, it seems like... What is this? The Hierophant was just chilling and it was in reverse. So it's like the structures at play don't do it for us. So we do what works for us when we get out of our own way by being out of our body for a little bit, because then we get reminded, whether that's full on where you have people coming out saying, I met Jesus, I would listen to them, or they don't remember anything, but suddenly they have a new lease on life, is because they had a team huddle. That's the vibe. So I'm going to leave it here, besties. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here. Subscribe if you haven't already. We would love to have you. It's been such a blast. And oh my God, I have so many plans for 2025, y'all. You don't even understand. I have a whole notepad of video ideas that I got. We are going to have so much fun. And my astrology course, y'all. So we're going to be implementing that as well. So please stay tuned. Smash that subscribe button. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can book a private reading with me, thekarmicdf.com. But I'm going to leave it here, besties. Comment down below what you guys thought about this video. And if you want to see more videos like it, I love you to my regulars and my besties. And I love you to the guys that just didn't subscribe yet, but you enjoyed the video. I'm sending love your way too, besties. Have a wonderful day. And don't forget that this world is a lot more magical than the powers that be want us to think it is. And I'm going to leave it there.